All right, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, citizens of YouTube. This is Pastor Dow. And of course, hey, we're here again, once again, with the truth straight way. I've been out of the net for the last few days, hadn't made many videos because I've had an influx of Israelites, saints coming visiting from Mississippi, Alabama, North Carolina, New York, Georgia, all over, Kentucky. And I've been busy with the saints of the Most High Yah. But hey, is it not remarkable and is it not amazing that the only way that truth can be viable is if the prostitutes on Fox News, NBC, MSNBC, CNN, and all the rest of these controlled news media, that's the only way we can accept something as being fact, and the only way we can accept as something being true. Now, I told you that the United States of America, we are going to war with Iran. Now they're all but virtually just declared it. I mean, when they already put the sanctions against the country, done it. You know what's amazing? You know what's amazing? You know, the Europeans are flat out a bunch of hypocrites. The Americans are a bunch of hypocrites. You know, here they are. They want to go and inspect all these Iraq, Iran, and stuff for their nuclear inspection, so-called cases. Do you know that so-called made-up nation called Israel that was sanctioned by Great Britain and the United States in 1948 under the League of Nations? Do you know they have never had one UN inspector in their country? Do you also know that in the 80s that they had over 200 nuclear warheads? And ain't nobody asking for no inspections on them. What is going on? You know, it's remarkable and amazing because, you know, what the Europeans call democracy today all has to do with enriching and enlining their pockets at the expense of your poverty. That's what they call democracy. But you know, those people over in Africa, what they call democracy is the king would ensure that the people would have a good lifestyle. And he was there to protect that lifestyle for those people. But this type of democracy, what they do is they turn around and put you in poverty. They give a bailout and then they reward wickedness. They reward people who are destroying your lifestyle. I mean, this is something. I asked the people this morning in dining hall, is America better off or worse off since the Europeans got here on this land? Is this land better off or worse off since the Europeans got this land? Oh yeah, you got civilization, but look at the land. The environment is toxic. The people are sick as hell. And we're supposed to have the so-called, quote-unquote, best hospitals in the world. And it's remarkable, isn't it? And we're trying to spread what we call this false, phony religious system in the world called Christianity. And look what it's doing. Look what it's doing all across the world. I mean, what a joke. What a farce, huh? Well, let me tell you what to expect. Dig deep in your pockets, even deeper. I mean, even deeper. And get ready for astronomical, extraordinary prices at the gas pump. Get ready even more so. For guess what else is getting ready to soar? Your food prices, like I have been telling you, and especially all you people who don't want to hear. You know, nothing can be true unless the press says it, right? Huh? Well, I've been pressing this issue ever since the early 2000s. I mentioned this as soon as they talked about GAFTA, CAFTA, and NAFTA under Clinton, way back in 95 and 96. I'm just a poor man. And so therefore I understand what's going on. My wisdom is despised. But you know what? You know what? By me having this wisdom, I'm able to prepare those that listen and hear me. We're going to be ready, whoo, boy, this country right here, for something it ain't never, ever seen before. World War III is right on the premises. We're staring at it right now. Do you know what usually happens? Do you know what happened during the time of the Great Depression? That was something going on before, middle, and after. It was called wars, world wars. The whole world has already done positioned themselves against the dollar. The dollar, it may be the world reserve currency on paper. It may be the world reserve currency on the books that people may be functioning by, but the world ain't playing that game. China and Japan is now in a trade agreement with each other. They're not trading in dollars anymore. Russia, Iran, and not only that, India joined in with Iran to purchase oil from them in gold. Well, so what if the UN puts a bunch of sanctions on Iran and stuff? I'm talking about Great Britain, United States of America, and Israel. So what if they do that? Who cares? Iran turns around, Mahmoud Ahmadinejad jumped in his plane, flies on down there to Hugo Chavez. They end up having trade agreements between themselves that keeps Iran fed. My only compunction about Iran is, why come them people ain't got enough sense to pipe some water in that area like Muammar Gaddafi did? I just sit there and watch this Fox News report, and I watch this boot-licking jack dog leg of a liar called an ambassador misrepresent, totally lie. We've heard these lies before. They did the same thing when they said that Iraq had weapons of mass destruction. 10 years later, not one nuclear weapon, but yet we have went over and blew the living hell out of a country. We have killed a lot of civilians and called it collateral damage. The United States of America, there's a law called sowing and reaping. You people, called Americans, all of us, we can sit back over here across this pond in our sealed houses and act like that there's no destruction that's going to come to this country. But you cannot go and sow all this hell all across this world, all this terror all across this world, all this death and destruction all across this world, and not expect for it to come home and roost. We got hell to pay in this country, and you better wake up to it. The only advice I got to you, you better get righteous. You better get righteous. And that's all there is to it, because that's your only defense. Because ain't no plea, ain't no cry is going to help you, and it's going to protect you from what's coming to America. Because as we have sown wickedness and sown terror all across this land through the Roman Empire building that we're following today, you know what happened to the Roman Empire, right? And don't you think for 1 minute, because you're ignorant of history, that it's not going to happen to us. That's why we're repeating the same mistakes of the past, because we're stupid. And we're going to repeat them. You better get your heart right. You better get it ready, because you know what? These foreign nations and these foreign countries, they are not going to spare when they seen that the American people didn't do nothing about their Congress, do nothing about these Senates and these House of Representatives and all these other so-called politicians representing the best interests of the people. No. As you have done, America, it will be done to you. Whether you like it or not, the chickens is coming home to roost. You can sit back, act like it ain't never going to happen. But just as sure as there's a law of gravity, there's a law of sowing and reaping. You better store some food. You better do it real fast. You better spend a whole entire paycheck on getting some food. You better do that. You better probably do that this month. And that's the truth. And that is the truth. Straightway. Stay tuned.